I am a happy man this morning because I want you to ask me why.
Well, why are you a happy man this morning, Mr. Sudduth?
Because my Duke Blue Devils absolutely wiped the floor with the Wolfpack last night at
Yeah.
Lenovo Center in Raleigh. A lot of
Nice.
people were thinking that because the Wolfpack has a knack for kneecapping big teams, and they certainly did it in Carolina recently. Blew the doors off of the Tar Heels at Lenovo Center, and I was a little nervous because they do. The current coach, Will Wade, they just seem to have Duke's number, not this year. So
This year.
very good. I was at the gym. I saw the game wrapping up there.
Nice.
And I was able to do my workout without being aggressive or angry because Duke was in control. So there's that. How about that for a cold open? All my Wolfpack fans, they have just completely left the stream. Sorry.
Yeesh.
Well, we're not going to talk about that all day. We will talk some weather. We do have a big severe weather uptick coming at the time. Let's roll the intro. See you folks on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. Mark Sudduth here. There's CJ Morgan over there. It's now Tuesday, March the 3rd, and it's 2026 still, unfortunately. The 6th year of 2020, as I sometimes say. Good to see everybody. Hopefully, this is happening on Twitter today. I did resubscribe to the blue check mark regime, and evidently I get to stream live on Twitter. So anybody watching on Twitter, at me, as they say, and say hello. And I'll, I don't know if the Twitter stuff shows up, CJ, on our chat thing or not, but it'll be interesting to see. And yes, I still need to end or edit the ending part of the opening because it is Talking Weather with Mark and CJ. Yes. This guy literally rearranged his life to help co-host.
It's not that big.
Which I appreciate very much. So
absolutely.
And I got a text from CJ. Let's see what he's saying.
So I did. I can see it as soon as I pull up my own profile. It says live on X on the right, and it looks like we have like 70 people watching.
Well, so hello, that's awesome. People. And the thing you sent me in full disclosure, as they say, referring to a phenomenon that happened a lot last year, it said 6-7 people watching.
Yeah, it did. But it just updated. So
where's the middle schoolers when you need them, and the elementary school kids with the old? Anyway, I did see a tweet about that one time recently. Somebody said they asked the teacher, "Would you do the 6-7 thing?" And the teacher said, "Why?" And they said, "Because I want to be reminded of last year, or it's old or something." Anyway, doesn't matter. Oh, Lord. Let's talk about the weather and not trends. Yeah. Today, we have a lot of severe weather to talk about because it's on the upswing and it's early this year, it seems to me, especially how much of it there's going to be. And with that, our Tech Tuesday, I think, is going to be quite fascinating for everybody. We're going to talk about Doppler radar.
Yep.
And that guy right there, CJ, we've been in the truck together working storms, and I got my reflectivity going, and it just kills him because he's like, dude, you got to put it on the velocity and so forth and so on.
You got to know what you're looking at.
You got to know what you're looking at. So he's going to do a lot of the explaining, and we'll get to that and much more on today's episode. So without further ado, let's switch over and see what we have in some of the topics for today. We shall allow, and let's get out of infinity mode. Got to be careful. You go back in time, you do that too much.
Right.
Severe weather uptick. And it is significant. We're going to definitely cover that. Toasty. Finally. But with the toast. Hey, CJ, do you like pollen on your toast? I don't.
No. Yeah, I was about to say, welcome to Talking Weather Pollen Edition. That's how I feel.
My goodness. I'm going to have to I've got this USB powered lithium battery deal blower that you can blow the dust out of your computer and whatever.
Yep.
And I'm afraid to do it anytime in the next few weeks because it's just going to be a yellow dust storm. The Tacoma had a little layer of pollen on the windshield yesterday. It's just annoying, and you can tell my nose is just a little sniffly today. So with the toasty weather comes the pollen explosion. Hey, that reminds me. Remember back when it was really, really cold? Wasn't it max velocity that started that very brief thing about exploding trees up in the far north? Well, we'll have to tap into our AI-generated video fun stuff one day to show you exploding pollen pine trees in the Carolinas because they seem to do that. Maybe we don't even need AI to do it. Just go out.
No, I think there's a video that's circulated for a while that somebody just hits a tree and it's just
so it's nice and warm, getting warmer, and I like that because this winter we're good. Unfortunately, record low snow for our friends out in Colorado, and I keep beating on that drum because it's important more than just for their economy, the snow economy, and all of that. That has big ramifications for the Colorado River Basin and the dry, warm months that are coming. March is typically Denver's and Colorado's snowiest month overall. We're running out of time, already 3 days in. And as I said, it's Tech Tuesday, and we will address and talk about Doppler radar. But before we do all that, I'm going to stop the share just for a second because let's go back to the banter because I want CJ on here. Let's take a moment because it's March 3rd to wish my wife a happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Becca.
Yep. Without her, that backdrop wouldn't be there. She built that. Right. She gave me the curtains that nobody can see that are on the left that have cool pictures that somehow they made into the curtains. So my office, when the light shines in, I see the vintage Tahoe over there and the very first picture of me ever taken, which I still owe you that picture, by the way. You said you needed it for something.
Yeah.
I need a production assistant that can handle some of these things. Nope, I just have to allocate my time better. But yes, happy birthday to Rebecca.
Happy birthday.
And she's having some breakfast with some work friends. So
that's nice.
Good for her. All right, so let's get back to it and take a look at some stats here. And one day I'm going to figure all this out so it's just seamless. Statistics. Yesterday's high and low temperatures. Rio Grande Village said, you know what? We're just keeping it, and we're keeping it the same. 101. That's what it was Sunday.
God.
101 again yesterday down in Rio Grande Village. And back in the contributing to the national low is Escort Station, practically up there in French-speaking Canada. I'll show you when we look at the Google Maps. Never took French in high school or college, and good luck with some of those names, believe me. But minus 25 Fahrenheit. And again, it's these extreme, like we're literally feet from the borders of Canada or Mexico, and that's where these extremes are happening. It's really interesting how that works with the geography of the United States, especially the lower 48. All right. So we did look at Rio Grande Village yesterday through the Google Street View. Let's just slide down here a little bit farther to the south and east and see what we got down in this ye old campground. Looks like the Google Street View person drove around it. Not too much different, but you could. Somebody left their chairs. Oh,
Yikes.
there they. Nope. Maybe they're sleeping in there, and then they hang out. That's some
Yeah.
Longhorn logos on there. Looks
Yeah,
like
it
Texas
is. Hook 'em.
Longhorn fans. How about that? Maybe it's Tim Marshall waiting for he and
Right.
somebody waiting for the next Supercell.
Ugh.
What is it, Fort Stockton that everybody talks about, CJ? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's that far west. That was that first year that we went out there. Remember, we got
Oh, yeah.
sandblasted.
Matt was with us, right?
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, Clemens was out there. We had those crazy orange pillar things that we got his friend to weld
Yeah.
that I don't even know where the hell those are now. Looks like Walter White and Jesse Pinkman have upgraded from their terrible RV, and they're back at it. So Breaking Bad fans, you can get a good chuckle out of that. Anyway, it's 101 degrees every day now, apparently, in Rio Grande Village. If you need to use the restroom, it's a little bit toasty. So there you go.
And you might want
This
to
is in the
rattlesnakes.
Big Bend National Park.
Right.
What did you say?
I said you're going to want to make friends with the rattlesnakes first.
Exactly. Well, that's where they're going to hide, in the shady places.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't it? Was it North Dakota where that bird landed on my finger, and you were like, "What is he?"
Oh yeah, that was Montana.
And I had the sign about rattlesnakes, remember?
Yeah, and I turned. Yeah, there was that sign about rattlesnakes, and I turned around, and here came Mark with a frickin' bird on his finger.
Yeah, CJ was just completely. You were talking to some other storm chaser, right? And I walk up, and I had a bird that was sitting on a post, and I walked up to the bird, and I stuck my hand down, and he jumped on my finger like no big deal. And I walk over to CJ like, "Hello, it's me, Noah. Nice to meet you." That was so funny. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Oh, rattlesnakes. That's
rattlesnakes.
Right. And hot in Texas.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guess what? There's no rattlesnakes up here that I'm aware of. Certainly not now. No. Maybe later on in the spring and summer, the eastern diamondback could make its way this far north. If Weather Scott's on today, I bet he can figure that out for us real quick. And some of our other encyclopedia brain guru people we have out there, which is nothing wrong with that. I love it, especially when we're riding together. Scott can literally look out and tell me anything about a landmark. It's remarkable. Anyway, Escort Station, way up here in northern Maine, in case you're wondering.
Jeez,
and
literally the northernmost part of Maine.
Dude, it's feet from Canada. You can literally holler across at our Canadian friends and heckle them about losing in the Olympics if you want to. I don't know. That's not nice. Just like me, razzing up the Wolfpack for just laying an egg last night at Lenovo Center. Anyway, -25. What's it look like up here? Well, the Google Street View, for whatever reason, is limited to the Canadian side.
Right.
So we'll do this. We'll go to, I don't even know how you say that name.
I'm not even going to try.
Beautiful, though. It's just across the river from Escort Station. So one would have to assume that it was also -25 here as well. Wow. Oh, look. I thought it said Arnett, like Will Arnett, but it's totally French.
Yep. So this is definitely Quebec.
So would that be Array?
Your ass, I don't speak French. The only French that I know is Je ne parle pas français, which I believe it means I don't speak French.
Well, we can see Escort Station from here, and that's where it was -25. That's funny.
Nope.
Nothing on the American side, but you go over to Canada and you look across the river into the United States.
Very pretty.
-25 up there. I'd imagine this is still frozen, this body of water, if not very close to it. And again, CJ, I can't wait to see how these temperatures change.
Right.
Our extremes as we move through spring and into summer. Eventually, it's going to be Death Valley and Furnace Creek, and of course, they're very related, and Tucson or Yuma or whatever. And then the national lows are going to you're going to get a bunch of them in Peter Sinks, Utah, because they stay cold. You're going to get Rocky Mountain National Park. But for now, our extremes are in the border areas, literally within miles, feet, whatever, from Mexico and Canada, respectfully. All right. Severe weather threat. We're going to really hammer this a lot. We're going to talk about this today. And Did I
You got to
spell
roll that
Oklahoma
graphic,
wrong?
Mark. It's the severe weather sit rep. You got to
That's
remember to
gonna
roll the
be funny.
graphics. Roll the graphics.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma?
It's the pollen. Goodbye. That's how you fix that. Who's running the graphics department there at Hurricane Track? What the heck?
That's neat. It did a pretty
yeah.
decent job.
So I'm a little out of sorts here because of the pollen. So we're not ready for this yet. So let's do this. There we go. What I wanted to show you was this. And to that, I will roll some of your cool graphics that you have done. You got one over here. Let me see if I can find that sucker. Neat tweets.
Mark's neat tweets. Yeah.
Yep. Mark's neat tweets. And this one is kind of neat. I thought it was. So let me show it to you. This is from the NASA folks and NOAA and all that good stuff. And what is it? So the NOAA satellite, obviously NASA works with them to launch these suckers, and United Space Alliance and so forth. But this was really cool. This is down there in Hawaii. Just look at this. Like, it's mesmerizing. Really, really cool. The different layers that you can see, how the wind is flowing across. You can tell that the atmosphere is a fluid. You got the volcano. You got the light signature, the heat signatures of the cities around there. That's pretty darn cool. It's neat. And
it is.
Thought I'd show you. So this is the first NOAA Satellite Showdown contender. March Madness for NOAA satellites, I guess. Introducing Team Kilauea. The geocolor imagery from NOAA and the GOES West satellite captured the ash plume and heat signature from Hawaii's Kilauea volcano during the December 6, 2025 eruption. Wow. So I guess they have some kind of a competition going on or something, and they want people to vote with a like. So I guess we'll add a like. There you go. It's up to 141. Pretty cool stuff. And look, whoever that is, applauding. Now, not so neat. We got to talk about this, ladies and gentlemen. So my friend Brad sent me this in an email with 3 question marks as the subject line. And I knew when I saw that, oh, this is going to be good. So this is from UFO Mania. Now, fortunately, UFO Mania says that all written articles and videos are for entertainment purposes only. So there's at least that. We don't have to take it seriously. It's like the UFO version of the Babylon Bee, I guess.
Right.
Okay? But with 197,000 followers, it tends to get the attention of people. And this was an interesting video that got posted with the question, why does all this cloud, I don't know, cloud, okay, why does all this cloud seem to be originating from one random location? Does anyone have a logical explanation? Now,
aliens.
we know the rules in social media. Don't read the comments, but you get a gauge for the how society is going by reading the comments. You really do. Anthropology is easy. All right, you just look at the comments and you can gauge how we are doing. You can figure it out. So let's scroll down and figure out how long it takes to get to the right answer. Okay, so we now live in a world where who's that? Snoop Dogg, right?
I think it is.
That's not the origin of the cloud. So no, incorrect. That's what happens when you don't study physics, biology, and geography in school. Okay, but remember, this is sort of a parody account, so it's
a parody,
right? We're not trying to burn people down. This I thought was getting close until they said hard to tell if it's weather modification without the other data, but it looks like it. Nope. Weather modification is a thing just because we are here, of course. I mean, really, you think about it, you put 8 6th graders in a tent on a Friday night in your backyard, and by Monday morning, it's they're going to have the criminal court in The Hague because of how bad it is, right? You change things just by being here. So we're not even going to get into that. But no, it's not. That is not weather modification itself.
That is not weather modification.
Wrong answer. NASA playing God? Nope. Wrong answer. U.S. Navy, so forth and so on. Nope. My Tampa Bay weather machine. Oh, there we go. And you might know who that is.
Yeah, I do.
Some humor. I don't know if it kind of looks like a combination of Cheech and Chong and Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I think
Right.
that's what that is, actually.
Right. So finally, we get to the right answer down here from Philly Weather Guy. Divergence and diffluence. It's fancy words for the stretching in the atmosphere. If the atmosphere is stretching, then mass needs to fill that space. And guess what happens? Air rises, condensing, forming clouds. Ding, 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 ding. And the other part of this is, and this is how you can explain the contrails. And let me grab my telestrator because we do want to teach you folks stuff here, not just act like we know everything without proving it. So let's take this back to full screen and we'll get ye old telestrator. So you got some air that's moving this way. And then once you get up here, it starts to spread out. And of course, the shot changes. Just wait until we get back to the tight shot. So once you get farther to the north, you have that divergence. So the air is able to go up and out. Also, all of this air that's moving this way has a certain amount of moisture in it. And once it reaches about right there, you've obviously run into a part of the atmosphere where the thermodynamics are such that clouds suddenly appear. Yeah. And that's the same thing with a jet moving along, and you don't see it until the contrail appears because it reaches a part of the atmosphere where the humidity is higher. We talked about this with Shay Gibson many, many moons ago, but this is easily explainable. We see this a lot, and especially CJ in the Southern Plains. When you get these, we call that the tail end Charlie.
Tail end Charlie, exactly.
So nothing nefarious, nothing mysterious about it at all. Cool to look at, but it's just simple fluid dynamics and thermodynamics coming together to give UFO mania something interesting to post about. So there you go.
Love it.
The more you know, that NBC thing, remember? All right. One of our bullet points for today, record low snow for Colorado. This is a problem.
Yeah, it is.
By the way, I think is Open Snow, is that the same guy that's doing the StormNet? I can't remember.
I don't know.
All this new stuff with AI and machine learning is just like, wow. Anyhow, snowpack update for the Western U.S. Blue well above normal. I got to get those. Like, I can't see any blue. It's just really hard to find some blue. Green and yellow are near to below normal, and red is well below normal. So let's look and see. Do you see any blue?
I do not.
Blue at all. Colorado, very, very bad. 46% of normal. At the worst, 65, 69 at the best. Arizona, really bad here. And the fire season will be coming soon enough. New Mexico in the 30s, but a good chunk of the Rockies, CJ, not looking too healthy for snowpack. And I'm going to bang the drum, the desk, whatever. This is a big deal. Okay, this needs to be hyped up, talked about just as much as some big tornado outbreak, because it's going to affect the water supply. It's going to affect fire season coming up, you name it. And it's all going to happen downstream through some of these big basins, like the Colorado River Basin. So
yeah, it's not good. As
a geographer by degree, and that is the biggest part of what I focused on, and then I threw in the meteorology and the hurricane stuff on top. This is of interest to me because of what will happen over a large geographic region. And you got your big population centers out there, Vegas, and Tucson, Phoenix, and Flagstaff, among other areas.
Even in Southern California, this affects you. LA gets a lot of its water from the Colorado River Basin. So, you know, I'm looking at the Colorado River Basin there, and there's not anything above, I think, 57%.
Right. And a lot of that water does come out of Colorado itself. So, yep, that's a problem, and we'll stay on top of that as well. And once we start getting the triple-digit heat out there, which that's coming, this is going to be a real issue. And, you know, we cover that. Last year I went out there with Scott. We were looking for the monsoon moisture. We got a little bit, but we mainly focused on the Dragon Bravo fire. Anyway, it's just part of what we cover here on Talking Weather. It's not just your tornadoes, your hailstones, and your hurricanes. This is important too. So there you go. All right, at least for today, not too bad out there. Some winter weather advisories up here in the northeastern parts of the country. Fog in and around Louisiana and southern Mississippi. A little bit of coastal fog here in Central Texas coastline, some right here off the coast of Jax, some fog in parts of Missouri and Arkansas, more fog over here. Foggy. Here, a real quick fun fact, whatever. My son and his son, which is still weird to say, CJ, they were at their grandparents, like the other set of grandparents' house,
right,
near the Cape Fear River. And they woke up, I think Sunday, Anthony is the grandkid's name, 5:30. And they were like, no, Anthony, go back to bed. And, well, what the hell woke him up? They said it was the foghorn from ships out on the Cape Fear River because we were so foggy. They were blowing the foghorn every few seconds.
Wow.
And it was so loud it woke up Anthony.
Oh,
So it's a thing that whatever.
Yeah.
Don't know if there's any foghorns themselves blowing around in Kansas or Nebraska, but
no.
foggy out there nevertheless.
Yep.
Makes it hard to see the turbines.
Yeah, it does.
So, there's that. Risk of rapid fire spread this week. Again, fire weather is weather. And this is important to stay on top of. This is coming to us from the National Weather Service, Albuquerque, our friends there in the ABQ.
Wow.
You got Las Vegas, New Mexico, all the way over to Clovis. You like Clovis, don't you, CJ? We all do. Is it time for Camp Clovis yet?
It might be this spring, Mark. We might actually end up going back. Who knows?
I think somebody made T-shirts about that from
Probably.
22 and
Wouldn't
23.
surprise
If
me.
I'm not mistaken. You got Tucumcari up to Clayton, but the fire weather risk out there, red flag warning, low humidity, high winds. 8 to 15%.
Right.
Yikes. Above normal temperatures, dry vegetation. It does affect the economy of the region. It affects the people that have to fight the fires.
Yep.
And it is important to discuss. And it's going to be windy Tuesday through Thursday. Today, also windy, fire safety. It's all on here. The infographics are out there, folks. You got to know where to look for them. And there they are. All right, well, let's take a look at what's happening with our chat today.
Lots of folks in there today.
Let's go to...
Oh, yeah, Mark, you're going to want to add a background to this scene, by the way.
yeah.
We keep forgetting to do that. I messed that up.
So,
Just
from over here, maybe like that?
Yeah, just pick something. It doesn't matter for now. We just need something behind us.
Right.
It was just black. That's my bad when I was setting everything up.
There you go. That's the 80s retro look.
Yeah.
All right. Fog every day here. Oh, that's right, because you're down in Fernandina Beach. That's what we were just showing there. Yep. Northeastern Florida, southern parts of Georgia. So Catherine Burkett, way over there in London, when I see the word Snowpack, it reminds me of one of my favorite country tunes, Roll On, 18-Wheeler by Alabama. Great group. Oh, that's nice. And Brandon, absolutely. We will be talking about hurricane season, 90 days left. And that's true. If you think about it, you get to March 1st. It's not quite 90 days. You got to get to my wife's birthday.
Yeah.
Just today. Mentioned that earlier. And then because the way the months have those stupid extra days or whatever, we are now officially 90 days away from hurricane season. And, Brandon, you're right. It is potentially going to be a really bad wildfire season out west. And another thing, yep. Brandon, real quick, I touched upon it maybe a little bit yesterday. I can't remember. If I didn't, we will soon. But did you see? Because we talked about the can sips. Wow,
we did.
Pollen is getting to me. That we might have a little bit more of an Atlantic hurricane season than a strong El Nino in the Pacific would suggest. So Brandon will be on top of that a lot, I'm sure.
Right.
And we'll get your thoughts on it. I knew it. Yep. All right. Let's switch back over to the screen share, and let's see what we're going to talk about next. What's on the agenda here, if I can remember everything. And I switched around my icons at the bottom of my taskbar, CJ. That's what's throwing me off a little bit as well. Okay, yes. So Tech Tuesday, and let's fire up the cool graphic that CJ did for that.
Yeah.
Because it is cool, and I had it ready right there. So Tech Tuesday, CJ and I have worked together in the field for a number of times, and our biggest friend, once we're out there and stuff's starting to fire, is, of course, radar.
Yep.
And we use the radar scope both on mobile, right here on my phone. You pull it up on the Mac, I believe, there in the car when we're the truck.
When I can, yeah.
And or the iPad at least, right? Yeah. And so I figured today, especially with severe weather season coming on strong, and we're going to definitely get to that. This is a good primer as we get ready to talk about severe weather season more. Exactly what is radar? How do we use it? What's the history of it? And where do we see it going? And for that, let's take a look at this infographic courtesy of Sam Altman and OpenAI and ChatGPT. I think it did a pretty good job.
Yep.
So, CJ, why don't you start off with a little bit of a history of our modern radar, because you have done some research on this. So it's all yours.
Yeah, I did. So one of the things that, you find as a general rule in science, a lot of things have a military use first, and then they come to, things during peacetime. And radar had its origins in World War II, as many of our modern technological advancements did. And, back in the late 40s, we figured out that instead of seeing the beeps and bloops of radar screens for, enemy aircraft or what have you, we were able to use this because all of those radar operators would see when there was rain, they would get these globs of blech on their outputs.
Right.
So back in the late 40s, we developed, and I mean, the meteorological community developed off of that. And we got our first set of weather radars in 1947. One was installed in Washington, D.C. in March of 1947, and another one in Wichita, Kansas. And over the years, those have been iterated upon iterations to get us to where we are today. In our current national radar system, we call NEXRAD, or more, of course, scientific, your WSR, which is Weather Service Radar 88D. That's just when it came out. Was in 1988, believe it or not. So this technology goes back to the 80s.
Right.
But obviously not all of it. We've made some serious improvements upon that.
Yeah, the dual pole, for example, which
dual polarization, all of that, and why NEXRAD was so important. So for years prior, we could see essentially just reflectivity with a radar. You couldn't see any velocity. You couldn't see any other data with it. All it could do was show you the outline of a storm. And what meteorologists would do at the National Weather Service, they'd take a piece of wax paper and go and trace a storm by hand or with a grease pencil, go away, come back a little bit and trace it again to see where it was moving. And that's basically what we had during the 70s super outbreak. So this was a huge leap forward in technology, because what happened was we figured out that if you fire out one of those radar beams, you could actually measure how fast and in what direction a particle was going. So that laid the foundations for modern dual polarization.
So you know how when a train or a car on their horn, or anything that goes by you, and that's the Doppler shift. Because when it's coming towards you, so there's a train coming, and it's got that sound. The energy and the waves of sound in front of that train are compressing.
Right.
And then when it goes away from you, the energy and everything from those are spreading out.
Right.
And so the radar uses a beam of electromagnetic energy, basically, sends it out, and it bounces off of things. It runs into things, bugs, sleet, hail, rain, cloud particles, dust. And sometimes traffic on the highways. We've seen instances when you get inversions and other complicated things. We don't want to have this discussion turn into a whole hour, but it's fairly simple to understand. And because the Earth is not flat, the radar beam it gets higher the farther out it goes from the site.
Exactly.
And so sometimes you can't see stuff happening lower down that might be far away, and the beam has different heights. And with the dual pole, and CJ talked about dual polarization, not only can you get vertical, but you can also do horizontal.
Yeah. So that was the big thing.
Can couple everything together and get more of a 3D look. And that's why it says that 3D volume scan.
Right. So the biggest thing for us in the early 2010s was the rolling out of dual polarization. And like you said, Mark, it allows essentially the beam goes out in a cross axis, kind of like this, where in the, with my arm out in front of me, there's a beam that goes up and down. So it waves up and down, and then it also waves side to side.
Yeah.
So the idea there is that not only can we get a horizontal cross section, we can also get, or horizontal, we can get a vertical cross section of a storm. And that allows us to see not only where the particles are traveling, but how large they are. So that
Yes.
opened up an entire new realm of things that we could detect with Doppler radar. One of the things that was immediately shown as a use case, and this was evident in the 2011 super outbreak, was what we now call a debris ball. And that was
Right.
when debris was being lofted, we could say, okay, this is definitely not a raindrop. This is a piece of a house or a tree, something like that. So this really unlocked our ability to not only do that, but then we could figure out, okay, how much is falling, so we could get derived products such as precipitation and all of that.
So let's take a look at one here.
Yep.
I'll go back to the Google Images if it'll let me. Where's a good example on all these?
The one right below you.
This guy.
Yep, that's perfect. So right there, you're getting, go down one more. You're getting 4 different versions of the same storm, right, in that one scan. So there's your reflectivity up in the top left, that's denoted by the Z, and your
that's what Mark
storm
uses
relative
most.
velocity in the top right.
Right.
I really don't understand differential, so I'm not going to discuss ZDR. I'm
Sure.
not really I don't really understand how that actually works. But the 3 tools that I use mostly are reflectivity, velocity, especially at night, and correlation coefficient. So the top 2, everybody should be, familiar with at this point. If you watched a weather broadcast, you know that on the left is how much, or, how heavy the rain is, or,
Right.
just the volume of stuff that the radar's picking up. And on the right is your velocity, which way those particles are going relative to the radar.
Exactly.
Red is
Either
inbound,
away
green is
or
outbound.
toward the radar.
Yep.
And that
So,
differentiation is the shear.
yep, exactly. So that's showing you, okay, this is rotating, and you can see the counterclockwise rotation there. But most importantly, down there on the right is your correlation coefficient. And that's basically detecting the uniformity of objects in the atmosphere. Because, even though raindrops vary-ish in terms of their size, they're pretty uniform in their size and shape.
Right.
So the big thing there is that it shows us that there is objects being lofted into the atmosphere that are not, they're not
solid.
Yeah, they're solid. They're differing sizes and shapes. So what we can interpret that as, using a map, obviously, is debris being lofted by a tornado that's on the ground. This allowed meteorologists to finally be able to detect tornadoes at night or in these messy QLCS linear convective modes.
Right. And this really opened up a new level of awareness and preparedness for people, and has absolutely saved lives. Obviously, we're not at 0 yet. Working towards that. The more people that can be aware, be educated, and just, again, that situational awareness. But this is really a big advancement. And in the future, and we've all seen the new twisters that came out a couple years ago, where the PAR radar, the phased array, that you can take to the events, and there is some of that already happening. You think about the Doppler on wheels.
Yep.
That's still your regular Doppler, but people like Dr. Josh Worman and his colleagues, they take the radar to the storms. They do that for hurricanes. They do that for supercells. This is such a revolution in technology that is amazing. And now there's algorithms that are in there that help to trip things quicker, to help the Weather Service react faster. There's a lot of automation with it. And you think about it, we talked about this. This is the WSR 88D. 1988. I was still in high school, for Pete's sake. So stuff has changed since then, but it takes a while, of course, for stuff to get approved and monies to be put out there. And there are holes.
And actually, recently, Mark, one of those holes is going to get covered up. I don't know if you saw that. I don't remember where, but I know one of the members of Congress. I do now. I believe it's a portion of Missouri. Finally, one of those radar holes, I think up in northwest Missouri, is going to get plugged. Finally.
We used to have a really neat map that would show where they all were. And there's this, but There was one that actually showed. Well, this is fine. So you say over here in Missouri,
Northeast Missouri. Yep.
Oh yeah, right up there.
Yep. So that radar hole is scheduled to get plugged. There was an appropriation that was pushed through by the local member of Congress there that was able to get that, get that done. And like you said, Mark, look at all the areas, especially in Tornado Alley, that really are not that well covered, especially large parts.
Kansas in here.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the blue areas and the white.
Right. True.
I mean, look at that large center section of, South Dakota,
northern Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, northern Nebraska, western Nebraska. I mean, there's large swaths. Even let's, stay east a little bit. Look at north of Houston.
Yeah.
Around Sherman and Paris, Texas. We could use another radar there. Arkansas is another one, that area right down there in southeastern Arkansas. Charlotte is one of the.
I was getting ready to say, everybody should know what's happening right here. That is Charlotte, and that is a big city, big financial, everything about it.
Yep.
And yes, these have some overlap, but this really needs one badly. This is a rapidly growing area of the Southeast, and it is difficult. You have to rely on Columbia or Raleigh, and the beam height is pretty high once you get to Charlotte. And again, what that means is that radar beam is coming out and it just keeps on going.
Yeah.
It does not curve with the earth.
No, it does not.
And so if your rotation or anything else is happening, and even a quote weak tornado might be more
which
lower.
It has happened.
Yeah, those are still tornadoes, and that can still affect people. It doesn't, it's not some big monster EF4. Who cares? A tornado is a tornado. 110 mile an hour wind can cause big problems. And so if we get one of those in North Carolina, that would be great. But just, with severe weather coming around, a little primer on Doppler radar. There are a lot of different sites and apps. We use RadarScope, of course.
Yep.
The desktop version of it. And I've used this since about 2012, I think, when I first got my iPhone.
Yep. I've been using it since about 2011.
Don't have a lot going on around the country at the moment. But RadarScope's a good one, and no, they are not a paid sponsor. We absolutely pay our subscriptions to them gladly. But there are others, a lot of different sites and startups, if you will, that are incorporating. In fact, if you're good at coding and you can afford some kind of a small data center, basically, you can create your own radar app.
Yeah.
Because the data, you got your level 1, level 2, level 3, like it's readily available. It's not proprietary.
Nope.
So RadarScope did that. I got to see if I can ever get in touch with the people that started RadarScope. I believe it was out of the university at OU, right? And
either that or it was in Texas. One of the two.
Yeah, it's an interesting history. It would be nice to get them on as a guest one day to talk about that. But yeah, I figured, talking about radar as we get closer to the start of an active severe weather week, important stuff. And if you want to know more about it, of course, you've got the entire history of the world at your fingertips.
Right.
With Google or chat or whatever. And you can ask questions. CJ, so the future of it, though, again, we've got the dual pole that's come in lately, and that's really helped out a lot with things like determining vertically integrated liquid, the hail, and the different snow, and what we call hydrometeorites. But the phased array radar, and again, that was not a made-up concept for the sequence twister. Where are we on that, if you have dug enough to answer that intelligently?
I have, so let me
go. I don't want to put you on the spot, because if you haven't looked
you're good. It is my understanding that we've already had one installed as an experimental type. This was in conjunction with the NSSL and the University of Oklahoma. That was the experimental radar that was there at OU, but that has since been decommissioned.
Gotcha.
So I don't know where we're at in terms of really doing it. The biggest problem is going to be funding. And
of course,
especially right now, generally speaking, there's not really a push.
Right.
But that can change. I mean, the biggest thing, would be the public demanding it. Really, the biggest investment we've had in the Weather Service and these types of things was really a product of the 1990s. That was when the majority of our current National Weather Service and just weather enterprise stuff really got built, was in the 80s and 90s, because you had administrations that were
or modernization. Sorry, I got
modernization.
that.
Yes.
It's getting to me already. The conspiracy people, Weather Modernization Act or bill,
and that was really a product of the Reagan and the Clinton administrations, especially. So it historically is a bipartisan issue. And
weather should be. It affects everything.
Exactly.
People that don't realize that, like, dude,
exactly.
Weather. In fact, we talked about this on a previous, I think it was last Wednesday. There's a movie coming out May 29th with Brendan Fraser, all about D-Day and how they needed the best meteorologist to forecast for that. You get that wrong, and it literally changes history.
Exactly.
So weather is very important. Doppler radar, a terrific tool. And if you ever have any questions, especially on our Discord and our Patreon, where you can actually reach out to us instantaneously, because it's always in there, the palm of our hands, and we get the notifications. Ask away. And we'll be glad to look it up, or maybe we learn something if we don't know the answer. But just want to talk about it a little bit. We're not radar experts, but we know enough, especially CJ and his work with it. I'm a reflectivity guy. I like to look at it, and the more orange and red it is, and pink sometimes when there's hail, that's what I need to know. Then I look to CJ and say, what do you think? And he starts to pull up the 4 panels, and he can look at the velocity. And Greg does the same thing, our friend Greg Nordstrom. But mainly for hurricanes, you got to understand where that comes from. I just need to see the reflectivity and know where the eye is and the eye wall.
Exactly.
I'm good. All right. Well, it is time to talk about severe weather in earnest. And you've got a nice graphic for that as well.
Severe weather sit rep, man.
So it is coming, and this is important. So we're going to talk about it. All right. So let's pull up the some of the various screens that I've got prepared for this. And we will start out with, I believe, where did everything go? I've probably messed up some things. So here's a tweet from the Storm Prediction Center. Key messages coming out. So today also begins the new realm of how they do their outlooks and whatever as well.
So that's going to start at the 1630 Z outlook, which will be coming around 1130 Eastern.
Right. So stuff's going to look different. And there's a terrific write-up about it from James Pettis. In fact, I'm going to pull that up in just a moment just to remind everybody. But we do have, and we'll get to the SPC outlook itself, but the key messages, a little bit of severe weather today, but tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, right out in the heart of the traditional Tornado Alley area, more or less, a pretty rapid ramp up here in early March. To think of it as an April through May into June thing, not this year. So large hail, 2-inch plus, maybe Thursday and Friday. That's the big stuff there. Now the possibility of tornadoes. Of course, that's what gets a majority of the attention, and we understand. But the big hail, the threat of heavy rain and flash flooding, and then the disruptions to commerce, interstate travel, Dallas, Fort Worth, the airport there could be impacted. That's a big deal. You got your turbulence, you got your just everything about it. People need to pay attention. All right. But you also got to keep a cool head about it and not get too out of control with it. And, when you get a really big high risk day, we'll talk about that. But this is not that. But we're getting there. We're getting stuff starting to ramp up. So here's today. Marginal risk, right, from extreme western Illinois through Missouri into Kansas and Oklahoma. The tornado threat, luckily, under 2% pretty much everywhere, but that's not zero. It's not zero. Wind, not too big of a deal, but the hail, could get 1 inch or greater across the area in brown, but it is tomorrow and beyond where the threats really start to manifest themselves. So, CJ, what do you think?
So today, we're looking at a potential for severe weather over portions of Oklahoma, Missouri, and Kansas. Today, not really much of a threat other than large hail. That's a 5%, hence only the marginal risk. Tomorrow, though, is when things start ramping up. So in the day 2 outlook, we're looking at, hold on, I lost my day 2. Tomorrow, southeastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, and northern Texas, you could really start to see some more intense thunderstorms. Biggest threats here are going to be large wind or large hail, damaging winds, and there is a tornado risk tomorrow. But my biggest concern, Mark, if I'm being completely honest with you, is going to be what's going to happen as this next system swings through Thursday and Friday.
Yep.
So Thursday, we're going to have a potent storm system that's going to form over the Intermountain West. The low is going to deepen across eastern Colorado, and it's going to go ahead and advect moisture. It's just going to drop moisture from the Gulf into portions of the high plains, and that's going to lead to a larger, significant severe risk. So not only do you have the 15% outline there, you have a significant severe as well for portions of the Texas Panhandle. So you're thinking Lubbock, Amarillo, Big Spring, Plainview, up into the high plains of Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and extreme southwestern Kansas.
It is crazy how flat it is right through here. We've been there quite a few times.
Yeah, I was about to say, we're very familiar with this part of the country.
Odd that we're talking about this on March the 3rd. That's just, to me, I'm not used to that. Now, this is not unprecedented. We're not making more of it than it is, but normally I'm thinking once we get to April, especially after April 15th or 20th, stuff really starts to ramp up. So to me, this is early, but it is not like significantly unusual. So again, not making more of this than needs to be, but I start seeing this. I know this area well. We've been out there quite a few times over the years, 2021 especially. And then I start thinking, well, wait, it's still just March. Like, we're not even to daylight saving time yet. And no, you don't actually add 60 more minutes of sun. That's not a thing. But the time shift is weird because it's still early, and the storms are going to be moving fast, and they're just different physiological makeup of them because it's not April and May. So it just messes with my brain a little bit. But it's still severe weather. It's just not the same flavor as what we're going to get later on down the road. So there's my opinion on it. It's just weird.
No, yeah, it's interesting for certain. Now, the biggest thing is going to be day 4, which is Friday. So Friday, this has been a while since we've had one of these. We already got a 30% chance outlined by the Storm Prediction Center, and that I'm really interested to see how that kind of shakes out tomorrow with the day 3 update. This includes a very large swath of the central United States. It includes western Missouri, eastern and southeastern Kansas, and a lot of central and northeastern Oklahoma. So I want to, and there's some big population centers in here. Kansas City, both Missouri and Kansas, the entire metro there, St. Joe's, down into Tulsa and Oklahoma City. I believe that also would include cities like Arkansas City, Kansas, some bigger population areas there, where we could see some serious issues on Friday. And this is going to be primarily supercells. And these will be
ish supercells.
So this is going to be an actual issue on Friday. So we're going to keep an eye on this. We're going to be talking about it in the days ahead. People are going to start getting, you're going to start to see it trending more on weather Twitter. So, we're entering a very active period right now over the next couple of weeks, or over the next couple of days into next week.
Well, what's interesting here, just reading through the discussion, and these are so important because these are written by real people. This is not machine learned, whatever output from some chat.
And that's Broyles, by the way, who wrote this one. So
everybody knows
Broyles there. He's a good forecaster.
And he's been memed and everything. He's so well respected. You've made it big in the weather industry when you've become a meme. That's usually a good thing. Usually, but you have that word supercells, a rotating thunderstorm. So not just your regular bubbling up of convection, typically what you might see over Florida, for example, but these supercell thunderstorms, the rotating updrafts, capable of producing tornadoes, large hail, and severe wind gusts.
Exactly.
Again, the fact that we're talking about this in early March is a bit unusual. And you got the 60 to 80 knot mid-level jet, the instability, moderate instability. We're not talking about limited whatever. And the Gulf is still pretty warm. Let's just show you that real quick.
Especially the Western Gulf.
Certainly. And there we go. Bingo. So even the Central Gulf out here, the loop current, Northern Gulf, though, the shelf water is really starting to, I tell you, my telestrator. There we go. So even the northern Gulf waters here are getting warm.
Yep.
The shelf water off Florida here, that'll warm up quickly, especially with the warmth that is coming. And we're going to address that in just a second as one of our topics. But CJ was talking about that advection, the horizontal movement of air coming up into the south part of the plains here. You get your low pressure areas with the attending front and the cooler, dry air. And this overtops that, and you get the rotation in the atmosphere like a pencil. I heard this on some Nova special at one point. I don't remember where it was. The shear can be thought of like a pencil rolling across a tabletop.
Yep.
And then when you get the convection, it bends that and tilts it, and that's how you get your supercell thunderstorms. And you can literally see it with people like Hank Schima and others that do these amazing time lapses. We've done some.
Yeah.
You can watch the atmosphere do what it does. And sometimes it has a bad outcome. That's the bad side. That's the unfortunate part. It's beautiful to see, but you got to be careful because it can come with a bite. All right. So the very warm temperatures, again, that's part of our topics of conversation today. Toasty for now. Let me show you that because this is related.
Yeah.
And let's look at the national scene as a whole real quick. This is your temperatures. This is your 2 meter air temperatures. And we'll go out to about the next week or so. And our daytime highs, look at all those reds that keep flashing through there. Now let's zoom into the south central U.S. and let's switch it over and look at the dew points. And CJ, how would you explain the importance of dew points to people that are just kind of maybe they don't
so a lot of people hear relative humidity. I don't like using relative humidity to describe humid environments. And the reason why is because dew point actually tells you at which temperature you will get
God, look at that.
Condensation to start,
Right. It's a measure of the actual water that's in the air.
Yes. And in the South, especially in Florida, on our newscasts, they don't reference relative humidity. We reference dew points.
Yeah.
So dew points.
People know.
Anything above 60, most people will feel is humid. Okay. Most people.
Right.
And in the United States, especially the southern plains, you need those dew points to be at least at or above 60 degrees in order to get convective initiation. That's just saying, that warmth and moisture fuels instability, and you need that in order to fuel convective
initiation. Helps the air to be more buoyant.
Yeah, exactly.
And a little tip for you, on some of the weather maps, you might see, for example, a 78 over 64. And this would be your temperature in the air, and that would be your dew point.
Yep.
So if you have an air temperature of 78 with a dew point of 64, that's muggy.
Yes, it is.
That air has a lot of moisture in it because you could also have a 78 with a dew point of 40, and that air is going to feel drier. So the relative humidity is going to be lower.
Yes.
And so the higher these dew points are, and then it's just to throw a monkey wrench in all this, when you get into Colorado and elsewhere in the high plains, you only need dew points in the 40s and 50s to trigger everything.
Exactly.
That's because of different
elevation. That's a different process.
Right. Your whole lapse rate thing. And by the way, the lapse rate that we talk about is the ability of how the air becomes unstable with height. And
it tells you how much the air cools as you go up in height. So, and it's usually expressed in degrees Celsius per kilometer.
And the quicker you can get cold, that's a steep lapse rate.
Yeah.
And so then, because everything above that cold is unstable and ready to go to produce hail, for example. That's a big one when you look at hail. But anyway, another thing.
One thing I want to point out, though, Mark, look at that strong, tight, dry line.
Dude, you were reading my mind.
So typically on the plains, what we look for is the dry line. That's what fuels convection because there's not really many fronts and stuff day to day. All that is you have an undercut of dry air that's forcing that warm, moist air to, actually rise and create thunderstorms. And in this case, you're looking at, what is that? Let's say 61 degrees in, what is that? Elk City, maybe?
Yeah.
And in Amarillo, the dew point is 17.
Right.
That is remarkable.
Right. And then this is where you would expect to see somewhere in this corridor. That's in the morning, so you don't have much in the way of heating. But by 18Z, roughly noon out there at this point in time. And then in the evening time, some of these dew points in the mid to upper 60s with the dry line impinging upon everything.
Wow.
And even lower dew points behind. That is the setup. This is one of the ingredients.
Yep. One of many that have to come together.
But by and large, though, the overall temperature pattern is going to be such that a pretty warm setup. In fact, if you look at the anomalies here, this is the 12Z. Let's go back to 6. Not a lot of cold air at 2 meters over the coming 2 weeks, it seems. No. It tries to get back active there towards mid-March, but even that gets pushed back quickly because the sun is fighting hard and the seasons are changing. I'm ready for it.
Coming up on the spring equinox, so
say it again.
I said we're coming up on the spring equinox, so daylight hours are increasing.
But by and large, really warm. But again, with that comes, we talked about the pollen,
right?
The more comical, annoying side, but the serious side is this severe weather threat that we will be focusing on more and more here over the coming days and weeks and beyond. And eventually, we'll talk about this soon. Our plans for covering severe weather, not this week, too early. We weren't budgeting or planning for it either from time or money wise. So we'll have to rely on the other chasers that are going to be out there this coming week. And you know who they are. They'll be there. And they do a good job of it. And we'll see what they capture. Hopefully they will be safe and give us some good data, some good stuff.
Exactly.
And, we'll join them when the time comes. Anything else on your mind before we roll things up for today, CJ?
No, sir.
I do need to learn how to spell Oklahoma again. Screwed that up. I got on the old laptop over there, is banging out the stuff for today, and just wasn't thinking. I forgot to spell check it. My wife gets on me about that a lot. She's going through my web pages before, and she says, and people pay you money for this? I'm like, come on. Mistakes happen. And at least in these situations, it doesn't affect lives. It's just a typo. And then I still need to edit the intro to put the new Talking Weather with Mark and CJ in there. And then I need an outro, and I'll probably work on all of that tonight. No time like the present, right?
Right.
You look like you're distracted. What are you something?
No,
it's a good
all
thing.
good.
Something
it's a very good
in your eye. All right. Well, I think we're done for today. I appreciate the audience, and we finally got it working on Twitter. I think tomorrow we might try the trifecta of the YouTube, the Twitter, and the Facebook.
Sounds
CJ
good.
and I can work on that. Probably the hurricane track side of Facebook would be the logical spot.
That's where you would put it.
And we will see what happens from there.
Exactly.
So until tomorrow, and tomorrow, of course, is our Whatever Wednesday. I'll come up with something interesting, hopefully to chat about that's not necessarily related to the weather, or maybe it will be. We shall see.
Never know.
You never know. And of course, we'll talk about the severe weather threat because we will get that 3-day. The 4-day becomes the 3-day. We will also have the new look. Oh, one more thing. Actually, I didn't want to go before we showed this because this is important.
Yeah.
The thing from Pettis, just to remind everybody. I didn't do the screen share thing, so there. Does that work or does that work?
That one.
All right. There we go. So let me jump over on the Twitter real quick and show you this from James Pettis. I forgot to bookmark it the other day and throw it into the description, but this is important. James is on our Patreon, and he does some incredible work, and he's got a pinned tweet that you want to know about these changes. He did this Twitter article, I think they call it, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Newsletter or something. And it's a very detailed write-up about these changes. We covered it the other day in the show.
Mark, we can't see what you're sharing.
Oh, I thought
you have to allow it. Sorry, I was waiting for it to pop up.
All right. So let's get to the proper thing. One day, Mark will have this all figured out. So share. Yes. Allow.
There it goes.
There we go. All right. So back to this. Screaming at the computer. James Pettis wrote up this terrific article on his Twitter. And it's the new look to the SPC severe weather outlooks. And that's coming today.
Yep.
In fact, in the next hour. And this is going to be interesting. Not like it's not a sweeping change, but enough that I think people should know about it. Yeah. Again, we talked about it. What was it in Monday's show or something like that?
Yeah.
And that was yesterday. Maybe it was Friday.
Friday, I think.
Time is just so weird when so much is going on. Anyway,
right.
Good stuff from James. It's on there. He's pinned it. So follow James Pettis.
Yes.
And it'll be right up there where you need it to be. All right. Well, let me go and get some allergy medicine or something.
Yeah.
This is starting to.
You need some Claritin or some Allegra.
Something like that. And why are you in the corner? What have I done? I don't know. CJ's been put in the corner. He's in timeout.
Apparently.
Oh, that's because I did this.
Yeah, you got to put us back.
There we go. Now we're equal.
Yeah.
I like this one because now you're not equal. That's funny. You can really treat your guests with some disrespect by squeezing them off to the side.
Right.
Hey, look, everybody, we appreciate you tuning in. This is, believe it or not, our 4th month of doing this. We just started that yesterday, in fact, and it's good to finally get it on the Twitter. I appreciate CJ nudging me along to get that done. We'll try to get it on the Facebook as well and see if all that works. And then each day, there'll be no excuse for people to not tune in and learn a little bit more about the weather. We always do the national high and low temps. That's a regular feature. Our Tech Tuesday, and then coming up on Thursday, tomorrow again is whatever Wednesday. I'll pick out something interesting to talk about, maybe tell you a story or something. But then Thursday, we'll check in with our friend Jen Naramore from Tornado Talk.
Awesome.
To see her journey, her ongoing journey of learning more about the deaths that tornadoes cause, because that is one of the very negative side effects.
Yes, it
of
is.
These incredible forces of nature. And then Friday, hey, we'll wait and see. Friday, probably a big severe weather day. We'll talk about what happened on Thursday on Friday, and then we will be done for the week. Speaking of done, we're done for the day. I am Mark Sudduth in Wilmington, North Carolina. That's CJ Morgan down in Southwest Florida. This has been Talking Weather. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Have a good one, y'all.